Hey, hey!
Hey people, it's Gamer Dan and Super Saiyan MatMadik again. Yeah, sorry for the dark camera. I got a emergency computer. One charger broke on my other one, and this is it them's the breaks. But thanks to Gamer Dan, man. He really held it down when I was nodding off because I work really early. So during the direct, man, I wish I can go back in time, but yeah, he's a great night owl. I tell you, Gamer Dan, how how are things and how is what's fresh in your mind?
So, it's been a bit of a roller coaster, really. Ever since the Switch to Direct first dropped, people have been very, very excited. People, I think the general consensus was good. The
Mm,
Switch Direct, Switch 2 Direct was, I hate that name, Switch 2. The,
yeah, yeah.
when the first Direct came out, people were stoked. We were very, very excited. There were a few little niggly areas, but I
Mm,
think that overall, people were very excited. It looked bigger, it looked stronger. The games looked stunning, absolutely
mm,
stunning, and just a bevy, a smorgasbord. My cup runneth over. They say that a console lives or dies by its games.
yeah.
No matter how great your console is, without anything to play on it, it's just an expensive paperweight. As was the problem with the PS Vita.
Yeah.
Fantastic, so far ahead of itself, ahead of the curve, staggeringly impressive console, but next to nothing on it. I swear, I use that thing almost primarily as a PlayStation 1 emulation device. I could have just bought a cheap one for that, you know. But it did have a few games on it that I really enjoyed. In fact, the very first Uncharted game I ever played was on the PS Vita, and then immediately after playing that, I went back and played all three of the originals. But beside the point, yes, Switch
Mm,
really did well. They brought out some cult classics. They brought out some big
mm,
heavy hitters. They got their own exclusive From Software game. I mean, that's a massive feather. That's a flight worthy feather in their cap. I mean, it looks
yeah,
like
man.
Bloodborne in London. People have been clamoring, salivating for the idea of another Bloodborne for a long time, but Sony had that under lock and key. Didn't bring
Yeah.
it to anything else. Well, Nintendo's bringing them the same thing. Did have a multiplayer vibe to it. It
Mm,
did kind of lean that way, but you know what? There were a lot of cutscenes. There were clearly a lot of cutscenes, which implies that there's at least a strong single player game there.
mm,
Yeah, people could jump in and out, but I'm hoping that they don't go the way of like no, battle royale, like all multiplayer. Let us work together, and I think that's kind of in keeping with the Switch 2's new kind of big sales point, which is the
mm.
C button, which is the connection button, is the game
Oh,
chat,
yes.
which
Mm.
big winner, I think, absolutely. The
Yeah,
last
yeah.
one really didn't, Switch didn't have a lot of, community, collaborative playing options. It had physical couch co-op, boom, two Joy-Cons. That was a
Right,
big selling
exactly.
point, yeah. But the moment you wanted to play online, ooh, didn't even have voice chat, didn't have camera, you're like, ooh, no, I don't like that.
Right.
So they've really solved that issue. I mean, the game chat in it looks fantastic. Being able to play with your friends and able to watch their screens simultaneously, genius. Being able to play multiple different games. Everyone's playing a different game, but you're still watching their screen. You're able to bring their screen
Right.
up, engage and communicate, and then using the camera for games straight out the bat, Mario Party games. Oh,
Mm,
that's very clever. And I think that maybe From Software got a lead on this early, so they're leading into the
mm.
whole multiplayer thing. So they're having multiple people playing the game at the same time. Is it a multiplayer game if you're playing a single player game with your friends? It's like, ooh, philosophical. I couldn't say so. Then, of course, the price dropped. And
Okay.
it was ice down your back. It was sort of dunking your nuts in the sea. It was that moment when you're entering the sea and your genitals hit, and you get that lurching. Oh God, no! What am I doing? Why am I doing this? And
Quite the
everyone,
analogy.
almost universally, pulled back. My heart bleeds for America because this price hike is pre-tariff, which,
Exactly. That's the
oh
thing.
God, I mean,
Yeah. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, there we
Yeah.
go.
So I think after that, people soured on it a little bit. The Treehouse has been an unmitigated success. From what I've seen, I haven't seen all of it. I've been making videos, watching it, and working my way through. There's a lot of material to go through, but getting a deep dive in some of the things, yeah, I think they're really showing off what the games look like, what they're capable of, and everything I've seen has been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
But
exactly. But
it's almost water from a poisoned well. They poisoned the well, and now everything they take out of it has got that taint. It's like, yo, this looks great, but is it worth the price? And
this
even
is it.
small niggly things, people would like, oh, brush off if they were in a good spirits. They're getting
Mm,
frustrated. I mean, I've seen a lot of people complaining about the box art for the new games, and you're like, really? Are you complaining about that? But it leads into the idea that Nintendo is pivoting away from physical copies. They announced with the Switch One Direct that they were doing these digital game cards that were
right.
transferable. Like, oh yeah, if you buy a game digitally, you don't get a digital passcode, you get a digital game card. And then you can use that game card in multiple different switches. You can transfer it over, meaning that it acts exactly the same way as a regular game card. You plug it into your console and it functions the same way. It's just a digital version. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cute. If a lot of households have multiple consoles, dad or mum has a console, kids have a console. So, being able to instantaneously, effortlessly trade games that beyond the physical cartridge, that's a nice touch. That's very kind of consumer friendly. But now we're seeing a lot less consumer friendly behavior, with the upgrade. I mean, people were excited about having upgraded versions, playing older games. We knew that the
That's something I'll talk about.
Switch One games it was backwards compatible with Switch One. We thought, oh my God, Switch One games on the new console. Are we going to upres them? Are we going to get a graphical boost? Are we going to get a little bit of flavor, a little some to, you know, give it a taster or something better? They come straight out. Yes, some of these games
Mm.
look amazing. They're adding new features. They're adding DLC. They are adding huge swaths to the Switch 2 versions, but they're charging quite a dear amount for it.
Mm.
And I worry that we've only seen first party. I worry that third parties are going to bring hey their game to Switch 2 with little to no bells or whistles, but the price point has already been set, so it's going to cost you to play on the Switch 2 for the increase, and it's next to nothing. Or we know, I say we know, but I think the general consensus by people who know better than I is that Switch 2 is going to be basically emulating Switch 1. If you're not using a physical cartridge, they're just emulating it, which, it's kind of hypocritical for Nintendo to do. But
Yeah, I
again,
mean,
I,
dude,
I, I
oh my
can't say
God.
for certain. I think that that's what I'm seeing online, but I don't know enough about the technical details to say. I can't say definitively. I'm just saying that people who know better than I are
Mm.
saying something. They're in that ballpark. So I think that's something. If you're just going to emulate the game, why charge me more?
Dude,
It's
man, you're covering all the fantastic base points. But you know what? I'm going to change my style of talking. I normally try and save something to say to the end, but from now on, I'm just going to say what I think from the beginning, and then when we go through the content, we'll see if I'm justified. And I may make a retraction if I. Okay, so first thing, all right, let's go straight to the price. Which, like you said, the whole price thing is definitely a pre-tariff thing. And as a YouTuber, RGT85, I just watched him before we came on. He said the thing, but if the tariffs were the issue with the games, then all games would be priced like what Mario Kart is priced at. But Nintendo have chosen to price it at that, and then of course they go to retailers, and the retailers are deciding to discount their own games to, of course, match their customer base. But if Nintendo already set the expectation, he said this could be a poisoning of the well. So it's, I would say, politics on one thing. Inflation, fine. Inflation, this is something that definitely affected everybody's. But ultimately, we have to look at what Nintendo's deciding to do. Would we buy anyway? I would, but I gotta be honest with you. I've had quite a few bills to deal with recently, and then the situation that people are dealing with, it may not be an option. Now, when it came to the emulation, again, that's just a little
or
thing I'm throwing
before
out
you
there.
before you see with
Mm,
the price point. I got a good thought and a bad thought. And my bad
Yeah.
thought, let's just do the bad ones first. Nintendo is
Mm.
always seen as outside of the console wars. I've
Mm.
railed against this idea that the console wars exist, but it's a poor facsimile, poor shadow of what it once was. But
Mm.
there are people who still hold true to this. Oh, which console do you go with? So, but Nintendo's never really been about that. They've always been like, hey, we're family friendly, we're consumer friendly, we get
Mm.
along with everyone. If they, by which I mean Nintendo, if Nintendo are releasing $90 games, is only, they're only a skip and a beat before everyone else does. But other companies will start increasing. If
Exactly. That's what
Nintendo
you're talking
could
about.
get away with charging that kind of money, it's
You
this
better
is going
believe
to be
it.
the norm. This is the new
And it would
norm
just
now.
screw exactly. So this is why when I said to you, because I'm unavailable the past 2 days, I just popped my head in the. In fact, I've been looking around recently, but I popped my head in the treehouse and I couldn't make it. Thanks for covering for again. All I saw was in the line, drop the price, drop the price. Like, yo, what the hell's going on in the chat? It was just drop the price. I think Nintendo cut it off at some point. I was like, here's my other tinfoil hat theory. I'm thinking that they don't put it past some sort of a bit of sabotage to be going on. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony is probably saying, "What if we just get trolls to F up all this?" And now
That
again,
was
I'm not saying that's what's going on, but it
That's my
could
happy thought.
be.
Nintendo has
Yeah.
been talking about ways of getting around scalpers because the last console generation
Mm,
for both, not really for Xbox, but for PlayStation, definitely people struggled. They really struggled to get consoles. The desire was there, but the scalpers swiped out a whole bunch of the stock and were selling them at a inflated rate. And it really hurt Sony's credibility. Nintendo have to say that they're wishing to implement strategies to get around scalpers. Now, I heard initially that their initial strategy was flood the market, just have so many copies out there that everyone gets a chance of getting one. Maybe not day one, but week one, month one, yeah,
mm,
they're available. And I've heard rumors people like be tracking shipping and whatnot that Nintendo is flooding the market early. They're getting a lot of copies into different regions, so people can get
mm.
copies, and that's their way around the scalper. If the scalper's like, "Yo, we got a Switch 2," and you're like, "Yo, I just go to the store." Screw you. But I am a dedicated Nintendo guy. I mentioned
Mm.
before that I got the 3DS on midnight launch
Yeah.
at full price. Now, the 3DS had next to no games on it. It really didn't have anything
Yeah.
really great. A lot of ports, but it wasn't impressing. It wasn't showing off what it could do.
Yeah. That's
And
the scariest
because of
public
that,
vision. It's like,
not long after doing that, they dropped their prices. They
yeah,
they
yeah,
they,
yeah, I
they
remember
cut
that. Oh my God.
hundred they cut $100 off of the overall price, and people who initially bought it were pissed. Like, yo,
Exactly.
what about us? And the Nintendo throws a bone. They gave us a whole bunch of exclusive complimentary games to say thank
Yeah.
you. And honestly, I was happy. I
Yeah.
got games that you could not get elsewhere. I've got access
Exactly.
to official Nintendo games that nobody else got. That was nice.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
I I want to believe that this is that kind of thing. What they're going to do is initial launch. They're going to hike the
Yeah.
price up.
You go first. You go.
True dedicated Nintendo buffs are going to buy. Scalpers are going to buy, and then by summer, maybe by autumn, by Halloween, boom, they cut the price by
Yeah.
like $100, leading into the Christmas period. So Christmas period,
Yes.
boom, switch to £100 cheaper. It is near price point of the original one. It's like a 50 to $100 more than the last one, but it is much cheaper. That's be a massive positivity boom. It will sell like gangbusters. It'll go like
Mm.
house on fire on Christmas. Those who are early adopters will get a little bonus with a little something under the table for us as a way of assuring us. I want
Mm.
that to happen, but that is the kind of business thinking that came from the old guard, that came from the kinds of executives who would
Suits.
take a pay
Mm.
cut
Mm.
when the
Oh,
times are
right, right, right.
tough.
Give it
We
time
don't
out.
have
Give
those
it time.
guys now. We've had a whole new
Mm.
change of guard. We've got new guy, new CFO, new CEOs. We've got new
Mm.
leaders in both Nintendo of America and Nintendo of Japan. And we've already seen them making waves in far more of a traditional gaming market. We've seen a lot more apps, lot more microtransactions, a lot more actions and decisions that are in keeping with other gaming platforms in the current gaming landscape. And the current gaming landscape is screw you, pay me.
Thank you,
So
pay me.
as much as I want them to do this, I mean, if they did, I would be an early adopter. I would get the bonus, but it would be a massive. It would reassure me that the old ethos, the ethos of putting the family first, of putting the consumer first, is still available. Now I know Nintendo are a
Mm,
fairly litigious company. They sue the shit out of everyone, pardon my language. But they they've always price pointed, or usually they price point things pretty well. They'll ask what they can get, and they will charge people for old games all the freaking time. But they never price people out of the market because their whole deal, their corporate image, their brand is it's a
mm.
family entertainment system. And
Right, right.
pricing people out, especially during a period of global tumultuousness. We're looking at a recession. If America goes into recession, it's a domino, baby. Everyone's going to suffer, and we're already
Yeah,
suffering.
exactly.
When prices are going up, wages aren't. People are getting screwed.
Mm, yeah.
So Nintendo doing this at this time, I feel like they have to either have such confidence that it will be a seller, because if they sold it at a regular price, sold out, guaranteed. Everyone wants to
Mm.
switch to
Yeah, of
because
course.
everyone. But if this is a trick, this is a ploy.
Mm.
They're gonna suffer in the short term to gain in the long term, and I hope that the company can have the foresight to invest long term, because
Mm.
video game
I
companies
suspect so.
famously don't. They burn their bridges early,
Yeah,
and
dude. Oh my God. You know what?
I
I
just don't
think
know. I just don't
console.
know.
Yeah, I mean, this even the Switch. I mean, we've been here with the Wii to the Wii U to the DS to the 3DS, and the Switch is a combination of two of the DS and the Wii. It's got the motion controls and it's a portable device. And now this is their Switch 2, and if they learn from both advancements, but yeah, both evolutions, if you will, uh, and use that technique. The strategy may be to scalp the scalpers, start high price, and make the idea of a high price toxic to the point where I hate that word by the way, but but if you make the price of high price toxic enough, then you bring it low, and everybody resents the idea of a high price, and then you make everybody rush for the low price. The only thing top scalpers can do is try and also sell low price, which is meaningless,
Yeah,
So
it
not
screws
that.
them, which is the point.
Mm,
We want to screw the scalpers, um,
mm,
because
that's it,
what they're doing
definitely.
is all they're doing is adding another step before buying it, and who the hell wants an
Yeah,
extra middle manager?
exactly. So that's it. Now, here's my other thing I have to say quickly because you never know how time flies. Okay, that was great by the way. I just love your summation. Going back to the D3DS and what they did, it could be their strategy. Okay. And this is why I'm going to say it now. This is why I kept banging on about AI, AI, AI all the time. I was thinking to myself, Nintendo should have, but who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe they'll surprise us. But probably not. It's probably too late. If they say, listen, we're not just called the Switch 2 for hardware reasons. We call the Switch 2 for software reasons. We're going to give you an AI companion for all the old games you stick in the Switch 2, and it changes the game somehow. And it gives you new levels or it gives you new NPC interaction. If you actually made old games new games by the virtue of the AI that has built into it, it could be another reason to invest in it. Because like, okay, it's an emulator, but it can do things, and of course, it'll tackle the whole issues that they're having with fan projects in Kickstarter that they keep trying to nuke, and say, listen, we can dominate remixing our own games, letting the clients do so, the players. The same way, I didn't expect Mario Maker to take off the way it did, but it did, and I was thinking there may just be something for giving people an ability to through AI to remix their games and make a new experience in a way that, and then of course, so anyway, that hasn't been done before, but not just that. If they were to, what if they were to, excuse me, show you how to use AI properly? That is to say, use AI with licensing. That is to say, yes, you can have other people trying to make remake AI our AI, but we'll sue them. Whereas if you come to our console, no suing will be an issue. You can remix your games, you can share it with your friends, co-op, play it how you like, but it's your original remix. That is the Switch 2. That way, the whole experience of what you had with with the older games can be originalized by you through AI. I was thinking if they
That's a
did
nice
that,
idea, but
then
that puts a lot of control within the gamer's hands, being able to, change up the game product. You're selling them as a final product, and then they're giving us the ability to effectively mod it.
mm, mm, mm. But if
That's a
Nintendo,
big sell. I mean, something like Mario Maker, or like a game that is inherently constructive, where you build levels.
mm,
Having an AI help you with that, give you inspiration or ideas, that seems reasonable. I'm more interested in the rollback feature because the game chat has like live streaming for
mm,
multiple people simultaneously.
all right,
A lot of people, or at least hypothetically, a lot of areas don't have great internet access. They don't have the hard lines, just the hardware built into the area to get the good connections. So, when they were developing fighting games, which are frame sensitive for good fighting, they needed. I'm not going to use the word AI, but they needed some kind of predictive technology built in,
yeah,
so that when they get some information from here, some information that they basically guess where you're supposed to be, and to make an accurate assessment of what decisions you're making.
right.
And I think that might be something implemented across the board with Nintendo, with all this. So we're not seeing their actual screen so much as we're seeing a computer's assumption of what they're seeing on their screen
Aha,
in order to keep
yeah,
up with the speed. So they're getting 12 frames per second. The computer's getting 12 frames of what's happening, and then they're filling in the other frames hypothetically. It's
yeah,
a proven technology. It works fine across a lot of consoles, a lot of infrastructure. I mean,
mm,
Street Fighter 6 uses it. Mortal Kombat uses it, and it uses it effectively. But
right, yeah. So,
with
mm,
so much information coming in and out, be uploading and downloading just perpetually with these live streams. I mean, when you're watching someone else's stream, you're downloading the information from them. If I
mm,
start chatting or adding information to that, I'm also uploading to that same location. So it's pinging between the two, or at least to a server, and then back and forth, back and forth. But if I've got four screens at the bottom of my own screen and I'm watching four other people, that feels very labor intensive. That's why I was actually kind of
yeah.
happy during the
That they
direct. They
show the
highlighted
actual lag.
that it was showing a connection, but also a bleeding cooling system. Because I can imagine
Oh,
that
right.
burning quite hot, you know.
Yes.
Now, Nvidia insiders have leaked, or at least acknowledged, that the hardware, the structure of the Switch 2 could get up to
Mm,
10 times the graphical fidelity, 10 times the power of a Switch. So what we're seeing is Switch 1 to Switch 2 is an enormous leap in raw processing power. But that's not
definitely.
what I'm worried about. I trust that the Switch 2 will be able to do the games well, because Nintendo have always been excellent at optimizing their games. They've been able to squeeze as much as they could out of the last droplets. They can make a droplet last or a whole meal. Looking at every generation, the games that near the end of a console's life cycle have been stunningly impressive. And you're like, how did you do this? And even they've leaked the file sizes of some of their first party games, and they're tiny. These
And
games
it's
are
crazy, isn't it?
tiny compared to like contemporaries, and you're like, holy God, what dark magic! Who did you have to sacrifice for this eldritch nightmare of a? I think this doesn't make sense. But Nintendo have
Efficiency
their own
again.
first-party game engines. They have their own first-party development processes. They keep everything under
Mm,
very intensive lock and key, and they're very good at this. I mean, look at the games on the Switch. They look fantastic. They play really, really well for a
amazing.
Switch.
Mm.
Qualify that statement. But yeah, just and then of course Switch 2 is like 10 times more powerful. You're like, dear God, we could have huge games. I mean, we're getting Cyberpunk. We're getting
Exactly.
last generation. We got The Witcher 3. I played The Witcher 3 on the Switch, and I didn't need to download anything. The entire database. Everything I needed was on the cartridge. I plugged it in and I just ran. And it was amazing. I gotta say, I love that game. I see why everyone loves it. It's a
Mm.
fantastic game. And Cyberpunk is a massive game. And that's one cartridge, no downloads. So these
Mm.
cartridges are huge and the games are small. So there is room for growth. So I
Right.
trust that Nintendo have the technical chops to get to make these things work and work well. I'm just concerned about outside sources. Like Nintendo are putting in the work. They brought out a great thing. Hell, at the beginning of the Switch 2 Direct, they had three guys come out. We had the game lead, we had the game director, and the hardware director. Because, dude, he was proud about what he'd done. Salute you, sir. Well done.
Remember that.
But when you play a game on a console, the only thing that matters is the console. When you play a game online, there's damn sight more infrastructure required to make that thing work. And that's outside of Nintendo's control.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So yeah, I see your point. And like you said, I think that what you said with Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and how they use AI to smooth out lagging. If
yeah,
if they utilize the methodology of that technology, yeah, the technology, that could be a huge game changer. I just think, I mean, Nintendo, as you say, they like to do things for cheap, but the whole point of AI is supposed to be that it makes things cheaper and more efficient. It's when done correctly, I
yeah, it's a
suppose.
tool. It's a tool to use. Tell you
Hmm.
what, right, we've been testing for
Yeah.
a while.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
so we've talked about a lot of myriad of topics. I think we're going to watch a quick bit of actual game chat
Yeah.
view footage. We're going to watch a little bit of one of those Nintendo tree houses. They're going to be using game chat with a four-player game. So we're going to watch them do it and then get a feel for how it plays out. Four people
Mm.
playing. Um, so, and then we will go on. We will have to take a break, reload the Zoom meeting, and then we might watch a more frustrated or a little bit more negative video just to kind of I'm excited
Balance it
about Switch
out.
2. We've been excited about Switch 2. We've been speculating and talking about it for a long time now, but I think that we do need to be fair and even. We talk about the
Mm.
good stuff, stuff we like, but we can't ignore the problems. It's like you talk
Yeah.
about AI. I think AI could be great. It could be a great tool in situations like this, with this rollback. It's using AI for its intended purpose. It's supposed to fix problems. Use it as a tool. So we've got an issue. Use the AI to smooth that over. It's not taking anyone's job. No dude could do this work, but that's what its intended usage is. What I struggle
Mm.
with is there are rumors that more and more companies are using AI for artwork. That's someone's job.
Uh-huh. Yes,
That's
exactly.
don't like that. And
Which
I don't
what, yeah.
trust AI artwork currently. Yeah, it's great for cute YouTube videos, like just about in the
Mm.
background, but actual gameplay. It's like we watched that video from Microsoft's
The
new game engine
news.
where they're able to create, literally, they're able to simulate and add functions within a game. It's just
Mm.
coding. That's just a coding job. And don't
Exactly.
like that.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah, I agree.
let's watch the game chat Nintendo. This is from the Nintendo Treehouse. Um, Here we are. So this is from the Nintendo Treehouse. They are talking about the game chat and Nintendo GameCube. We're going to look at the game chat first because that's what we want to talk about, um, and see how it plays out. I haven't actually watched this yet. This is one of the later Treehouses that I missed because my damn frail human body needed sleep. So
Yeah. Okay with that. Just so you know, we got 10 minutes until we switch up. Shall we
yeah,
do a few minutes and
we
then
won't
Game
watch a
chat.
lot of this. Just a little bit.
Demetrius,
okay.
BKK, you guys ready?
So
Absolutely.
this is
Absolutely.
a Zelda game. Ooh, I
Oh
like.
my
Oh,
God.
this is
The
the Four
four.
Never
Swords.
played this game.
I didn't play
Yes.
this because I didn't have anyone
Oh,
to play it with.
Adventure,
really? It's fantastic,
control like
but I
a
mean,
colored Link
yeah.
trying to make it through the exit
Right,
together.
so
A little bit of
Mm.
each of
cooperation,
them are a
a lot of
link,
cooperation, a
and we can
little bit of
see
competition.
at the top. This is the main
Once
character guy's
once anyone
screen.
finds the
This
exit,
is
Mm.
let us
Corey,
know.
so we can see it mirrored.
Yeah, let go.
But Demetrius, BK, and K
Right.
are
Oh,
go to different areas, and then you can even see where they appear on the map.
I did. I found a couple of. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Okay, it's up here.
Oh, did you find
top
the exit
left.
already? Oh, I can see
I did.
Demetrius's screen. Looking at that bottom screen. So D, are you? Oh, you're in the upper left.
Correct.
Okay.
It's a nice touch, but I
Okay,
like that
I'll make
they
my
are
way that way.
I
silhouetted.
was taking
I
a
just think
look
that's
at the
that's a
Yeah, I
screen.
think
nice
that's
touch.
awesome.
Instead of having like a circle or a
Upper left
block
or
in the
upper right?
corner,
I'm
just
just being
what?
a
Because it gives
little
you a little bit
less
more of the
inviting to everybody
game
because I can't let
screen.
everybody makes it back.
You
So
ever see more of
Exactly.
the
Here
game
is
screen,
your
which
somebody
like.
wants
I
to
like.
Whatever
I
floats.
I think we should do this with Saj
yeah.
when he gets his hands on one.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
we're on the way.
I could happily while away the
Remind
hours
me of
just
so
chatting to friends. We could talk about
Yeah.
anything, but just
While we're
playing together,
rolling.
having a laugh. It feels
Well,
very,
waiting.
I
very,
didn't get a single rupee from any of
very
them.
friendly.
Doing
Really
Yeah, exactly.
kind of
engaging. And they're
unilateral.
laughing, they're joking. Kay's late because she's
Oh,
trying
you're
to
in
make some
time.
money.
Less than 2 minutes.
Oh,
Hey,
nice bonus
rupees.
too.
I mean, I'd
Good job.
absolutely love to play this
Let's
game.
keep that
I haven't.
tempo
Yeah,
up.
man.
Oh, we can already
Okay.
see the exit. All right.
Oh
Divide
yeah,
and
it's already locked right
conquer.
there. Okay.
And this art
Next time
style
we have to
is
replay
reminiscent
the
of the
video.
Minish Cap, which is
Right.
one of my
Yeah.
personal favorite Zelda games.
So
Oh, where
there's
is?
Rock's cape.
Where'd you
That's
get
gonna
Rock?
let
Yeah,
me
on the
hit button, and I
Game Boy
accidentally hit
Advance.
A again. So
That was a
good.
Yeah.
fantastic
And oh
game.
no,
Capcom worked on it.
Oh my God.
escape back. There we go.
This is
Oh,
it's
there's the
such member berries, man.
Rockefellers.
Oh, there's a big boulder in the middle here.
Oh, so Demetrius, can you
Also,
let us know where you're at? I can see your screen, but can you kind of? Oh, I see.
there it is.
Is
So we
it the
need.
one that needs all four of us?
Yes, yes it is.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
here we
the
go.
game has lots of these
Oh,
points
okay.
where
Thank you.
everyone has to collaborate
Okay,
together
who's
to continue.
somewhere
And
north.
Yeah,
this
make
is a
him a little back
perfect
to
game
you.
for this.
It's
this
gonna be
system.
10 years before he gets to us.
In the Legend of Zelda games, 10 years, that's like a blink of an eye.
Well, as long as you don't pull any swords out of pedestals, you should be fine.
Hey, come on. There
Keep
we
your
go.
eyes
Just
open.
access your local temple of time.
Oh, there we
Open your
go.
eyes.
Everyone's on the same screen and
Right.
push.
Let's do this.
Heave.
There we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, now we've got
it's
the.
funny how I'm just kind of dumbfounded, just enjoying watching it.
we
It's
go.
The other one.
I'm trying to find something to
I
say, but
don't
I'm
see
just enjoying it.
when they mentioned that you could play multiple games. Like you could be playing a game
Gotcha.
and then have other people
There we
play
go.
it. Like in the
Yeah.
data
Never
direct,
get
it
rid
was
of
showing
those.
off
Okay.
See, we
that
didn't
someone
use
was
it
playing
before.
Kirby, another person was playing
We got this.
Zelda,
It's
and you're
not a
like, these are
competition.
Yeah.
single player
Get
games.
there faster.
But there's such a collaborative feeling. Like when you're
Yeah.
playing, just put yourself on the screen, and then everyone else is
So
playing, jumps on. Oh, what are you doing?
Yeah,
How are
I
you
got
doing?
bunnies.
it's
It
beautiful. It's
feels
just crazy, isn't it? Because I
it.
mean, growing up,
It's
man.
very friendly.
Oh,
It's very
yeah.
friendly, and I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, today it's one thing. I mean, even growing up before we had a lot of tablets and what have you. In my house, sometimes we'd have two different TVs. Somebody has a Game Boy, some of the Game Gear, somebody's playing the Atari Lynx or something that was watching the TV, and there's different games going on in the house, but we're all together. And
Mm,
this really kind of is a kind of homage to that kind of couch co-op collaborative
yeah,
environment that we'd have
absolutely.
growing up.
I say
Perfect.
it's a smart move. It leans into Nintendo's strengths. Nintendo
Mm,
is a company that made its name doing these kinds of friendly cooperative games.
yeah.
Back in the days of yore, back in the days of the true gamer
Mm,
war, console war, Nintendo games were a little bit more multiplayer friendly. Sega games were a little bit more gritty.
yeah.
Sega's version of Mortal Kombat had actual blood, but
Yeah.
the SNES's version ran better. It was a little bit faster, a little bit smoother. It was better suited for um, couch co-op.
Yeah, this is not. It's not. Nintendo really is family vibes.
Well, that's
Yeah,
their
I
whole
don't
bread and butter, man. Even before
know.
video games, before like consoles and whatnot, they were leaning into cards. They made games. They made a lot of things that were very consumer friendly.
Right. And
And
yeah, man.
but
Yeah.
if you turn into a multicolored boss as a team, you have to only hit the face with your own color. There's red,
This is it.
purple.
It feels very much like one of those trippy dreams at some point, but it's still clean. What I love about Nintendo is that it doesn't get sick. So it doesn't get sickly with the colors.
No,
Usually, at
well, I'd
least.
say
Yeah.
pixel art endures longer. Cell shaded and pixel art games, if they're done well, they last a
Mm.
lot longer. They don't
Yeah, they age
they
well.
don't um, they don't go bad. Huh, for
Mm.
lack of a better word. I mean, Wind Waker, even now, the first version looks great. it's a great looking game because if you go, photorealism, then it will, it will age because you can only
Yeah,
be as good
exactly.
as possible.
That is it. That's the weakness of the other consoles because they always have to. I mean, I know they've got other priorities. That Sony is not only about games, and Microsoft not only about games. But when you try to make the most realistic game, once you can make your older games a lot more irrelevant with
Mm.
the next iteration a lot more easily. But when you don't go down the uncanny valley and you just say, "Hey, this is a cartoon. I want to keep it that way," then people appreciate that, and it has more longevity, definitely. And Nintendo's good at. Sorry, is the video muted?
Yeah, it mutes it so we can
Oh yeah,
talk.
thanks. Yeah, and
Um,
I was gonna say, yeah, I was gonna
I
say
say
this.
we're gonna put a pause in this
Yeah,
now.
I'm
I
going
say
to put a
that
pause
it
on
looks
this.
great. I say that it's it's such an exciting feature, but like we said
Mm,
before about the pricing going up and being a little bit difficult, the cameras are peripheral straight off the bat. It's
so
nothing
yeah,
more you have to
exactly.
buy. Just
Oh no,
the cameras they're showing off game chat. This looks amazing. It's great. Yeah, you have to buy the camera on top of the console. Oh, I wanted to play that kind of Astro Room kind of playthrough
Mm,
demo thing of the Switch 2. Yeah, you have to pay for it.
yeah, like you
Ooh,
got
it just left a bit of taste in my mouth. It's like,
yeah,
dude, yeah, Astro's Room came as a free game,
that is
and
it.
people
Not to
love
mention
that
that.
so much they made an entire game about it that won Game of the Year. Nintendo it could have been an easy win. It could have been an
Yeah,
absolute easy win. When they
I
released the
mean,
Switch, there
yeah.
was a 1-2 Switch kind of demo thing.
Look at the what's the Wii game? Zoom Wii Sports for goodness sake.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
see, Wii Sports that was huge, and then they made Wii Sports Resort because people liked those games so much. Bam, they were willing to pay for an upgraded version. The first one needs to be free. The first
yeah.
taste needs to be free. If you want to get us
I
hooked,
wonder what
first taste needs to be free.
I wonder what Nintendo
Um,
gonna do. Boy, oh boy. I guess okay. We'll jump in again and then we'll continue because you got
yeah,
one
we're going
minute
to
before
take a
this one.
short break. We'll come back and we've got some more interesting videos to watch. Right.
Catch you in a minute, mate.
We'll see you soon.
Yes. Yeah.